The violence has escalated not only in the part of Puerto Vallarta, but also in the part of Jalisco, in the state of Michoacán, where Nemesio Oseguera Mencho, the guy that it was gunned down, had a lot of power and a lot of presence. This escalated into the north cities and the north borders that connect to the United States of America. One of them, it is the city that I am located in Tijuana, where more than 20 incidents have been, noticeable. And that incidents, what do I mean by incidents? Burning not also of automobiles, but also at businesses, pharmacies, and these kind of oxos that they are, they can resemble as a 7-Eleven. Yesterday, I reported on the ground of 4 vehicles that they were burned. One of them was concerning. They burned a pickup truck in front of the border wall that is just steps away from the United States authority. I also said this is a national security issue. Why? Because these cartel members, they burned this vehicle in front of the border wall, but they have cameras of the United States government. So they want to let the United States government know that they're actually doing this on the purpose to unstabilize the security of the citizens of Mexico, and to send a great message to the United States authorities that they still have presence on these communities and these neighborhoods.
Wow, Oscar, this is a very, very scary situation. Obviously, this is orchestrated, right? This is a strategy by the cartels. Where does it end? Where do you think this goes next?
Well, the federal government of Mexico is being greatly pushed by the United States government. There's already been, they already came out giving out statements that this mission, executing El Mencho, was a collaboration with intelligence by the United States authorities to just take him out. The ones that led the operation were the federal government of Mexico. Now, what the federal government of Mexico needs to do is provide the security for the Mexican citizens. Ultimately, also, we have hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of American tourists located in the central parts like Puerto Vallarta, also Jalisco, and parts like Morelia. We have hundreds of thousands of American citizens right here in the city of Tijuana who cross daily to the United States of America to go to work, to provide the security for those citizens, and also ultimately at the end of the day to provide security for Mexican citizens. Now, there was a post that was circulating yesterday late at night in Tijuana that they were threatening Mexican citizens to not go out after 10 o'clock at night because they were going to start shooting civilians. That was a post that they made on social media. We do not know if it is a credible post or if it's not a credible post, but Mexican citizens are scared to go out late at night. And just late at night, they burned more than 3 vehicles in international roads that they connect from.
Hey, everyone, I see you asking a question about Brandy. As of right now, I've not heard from her this morning. So I'm checking to see. I haven't seen any posts from Brandy. And let me see if I see any posts from Jake. Yeah, I don't see anything from either one of them yet. So we shall see. I did see some morning reports that there's still some stuff going on, but oh, here we go. Is this it? No, that was from yesterday. Yeah, I still don't see anything from today. So as of right now, I haven't heard anything bad, but I also haven't heard from them. So as soon as I do, I will definitely let you know. I would definitely update.
From the west side into the east side of the city.
Oscar, you brought this up about Tijuana. I lived in San Diego for a while and had so many friends that, like you said, commuted across the border every day. So there's a lot of Americans' lives that are at risk, too. I think about this, there's so many cartel members that have been pouring into the United States under the negligence of the Biden administration, keeping our border wide open. Are you worried that we might see situations like this happen on our soil?
That is incredible that you brought that up, because under the Biden administration, the cartel grew 2 times bigger, 2 times stronger on territory, on land, financially, and in technology. And we're seeing the result of that because of the negligence of the Biden administration. Who would ever thought in Tijuana that the Cartel Jalisco New Generation had this enormous presence? A lot of these studies and the intelligence of the Intelligence Department of Mexico, they thought that the Sinaloa cartel was the one that it was in charge of the state of Baja California. But now we know that it's completely the contrast and the opposite. And this is because of the negligence of the Biden administration that provided this cartel to have this enormous power. You can see it actually on their technology and their weaponry. And they have a lot of presence inside of the United States of America. This is a national security issue on both sides of the aisle. Inside of the United States of America, they need to start securing their borders and being on the lookout for drone attacks and possibly, some kind of not an attack, but an approach from the organized crime and the cartel to near the border. And it's a national security issue. Also, at the end of the day, for Mexico, they need to provide security for Mexican citizens and for American tourists that they're located on the other side.
Hey everyone, I just wanted to get that playing to get that started. But so people are asking about Brandy. So far, I've not heard from Brandy. Is the airport open? Let's go look. So this is flight radar 24. Make sure we're in the right area. So here's Puerto Vallarta. Looks like we have a Cessna up and flying, and it took off from the airport. So that airport, the Aeropuerto Internacional Puerto Vallarta, that one seems to be operational. And it looks like, yeah, looks like we have landings and takeoffs today, this morning. So it's definitely operational. And I know, let's see, where's the other one? Guadalajara. Let's check that one. I see planes around it. Guadalajara International, same thing. Yep, we have landings and takeoffs. So it looks like they're both operational. And there's planes going in and out. So I would say, to answer your question, I would say it looks like the airports are functional. So people are probably flying out. I don't know if there's a lot of flights. Right now I'm showing all planes, so I'm not filtering anything out. And what you're seeing is what you get. So I'm not seeing large numbers of planes in the air. In fact, I only see that one. Just that one Cessna. So I'm not sure if that's an indicator that, when they fly around, they typically have the transponder on. So let's back out and see how all of Mexico looks. Yeah, there's definitely so that area, kind of the initial area. Yeah. So it looks like centrally, it looks like there's flights. More towards the coast, there's less. And then it looks like the rest of Mexico is pretty much normal. You can see flights going around everywhere. So Jalisco itself, it looks like Guadalajara has normal activity, but there's not much going on over here in Puerto Vallarta, which that's where Brandy and Jake are right now, and a lot of other people. So, and these are just updates. These are updates from today. I'm also going to cover some stuff from yesterday that I got last night, and some more information, some more videos, some more people that were on the ground there and kind of gave their account. So let's get caught up on today's stuff first. This is from 2 hours ago. Apparently lots of burned vehicles everywhere. And if you ever watch firefighters doing their thing, looks like the military and police have stepped in more. They're more present today. They're moving vehicles. Apparently, it sounds like some of the roads are being unblocked as well. So it looks like the military, for the most part, from what it seems like, is the cartels went in, caused some damage and caused some chaos, and then kind of stepped back, or maybe moved on to a different place. So you can see the damage and stuff they caused, but they're not still there. They're not presently there, at least from what I'm seeing so far.
Assassination and execution of Nemesio Oseguera El Mencho. This was a mission that apparently, from the government statements, it was a cooperation between the intelligence of the United States of America, and the ones that led the operation for the execution was the federal government of Mexico. This tells you the bilateral relationship that right now President Trump has executed perfectly with the Mexican government, so they can execute these kind of missions. After that, violence escalated and got it completely out of hand in part of Puerto Vallarta, part of Jalisco, and part of Michoacán, where the Cartel Jalisco New Generation had massive control. This escalated into the borders, as yesterday in Tijuana, the city that we are located, more than 22 incidents. Why they call incidents? Because they were burning businesses, they were burning automobiles as these narco blockades to send a message to the government that they still have control of these communities, and that ultimately that they are going to unstabilize, and they're going to send a message to the population that they are going to try to terrorize the population to let them know that they have control of these.
So it looks like some of the behavior is still ongoing. I'm playing these reports because he's on the ground, and he's basically the most up-to-date information that I can find.
Government, it has kind of come inner wars were going to start. The unstableness of Mexico was going to demonstrate this is what is actually happening. Now, let's see how the federal government is going to come and protect the Mexican citizens and also the international citizens, not only American citizens. That we have a huge presence on tourist areas, but like Tijuana, it is one of the most transit cities in the world in terms to coming back and forth for American citizens. We got hundreds of thousands of them that they are concerned right now. The whole city right now, Steve, let me tell you, Tijuana is a ghost town right now. Businesses are closing at 6 o'clock in the evening. There was a post on social media on Facebook that it was threatening the citizens of Tijuana and also American citizens that they were going to start shooting at civilians after 10 o'clock at night. That was considered a fake post, but it is also threatening to citizens that the power of the cartel, of how they're showing it to just basically terrorize the citizens of Tijuana and terrorize the citizens of Puerto Vallarta, Jalisco, Michoacán, in places that they have a lot of presence. The federal government had just gave out a statement right now in the morning conference. The head of Sedena, the military, was in tears to say that there were fallen soldiers on this operation and that it was an operation that it needed to be done and that they demonstrated the force of the state in collaboration with the intelligence of the American government. That is one of the most important things that it needs to be addressed. It is that the head of the military of Mexico have said that there's collaboration with the American intelligence to execute this mission, that it was perfectly done, almost perfectly done in the central parts of the country.
Now that's your answer. Someone was asking if this was done in conjunction with the U.S. government. It sounds like it was. There's also reports that allegedly we had some special forces guys on the ground that were doing some of this stuff. And I think it was 19 specifically. It was a very specific number. And I think we'll see that report if we start looking through a lot of the other media and stuff that I have. The other thing I want to show too is that last night, I should say yesterday, when everything was happening, here's their map. And this shows, this is cars that are on fire and fires, as far as I understand it. And you can see, so the gray ones are ones that have been put out. The ones that are in orange or red, those are the ones that are current. So yesterday there were even more. So this is, this is still a pretty good amount. And this is going from Puerto Vallarta through Jalisco and across Mexico. And it is going down south as well. So you can see it coming all the way down here into Guatemala. So this is the influence that the cartels have had. So since El Mencho was taken out, this is the result. I mean, they're causing chaos everywhere. And there's not as much up north because a lot of people are worried about it, obviously, coming across our borders. But as of right now, it seems to be mostly centralized and a little bit down south. And you can see it started here over in Jalisco, and it's about 5 hours away from Puerto Vallarta, but it's kind of spread everywhere at this point. You'll see a lot of reports of people saying that it's not that bad. Don't worry about it. There's not that many people. The cartels aren't hurting anyone. I would say at this point, that's probably false based on what I've seen and what I can show you. So just be really careful when people are telling you stuff like that. Let me look at these other, let's see. Just looking at chat here really quick. Yeah, people asking about Brandy. We have not heard from her today yet. We have not heard from her today. And I did message her, and I did check her and Jake's feeds, and I don't see anything from them. All right, let's see if there's anything else new from... All right, that's from him. And obviously, Mexico announced the killing of CJNG cartel leader El Mencho, I should say, in a military operation. And this was in conjunction, apparently, with U.S. intelligence. There was a $15 million bounty. And that bounty, I don't know if that's being paid out to someone. Obviously, if the military took them out, do they split that money? Does it just get paid to the military, portion of the government? I'm not sure how that works. And then you have Deputy Secretary Chris. He basically said, I've been told that El Mencho is dead. He's one of the most ruthless kingpins. This is great for U.S., Latin America, and the world. The good guys are stronger than the bad guys. Kind of a strange thing to say. That to me kind of reminds me of like, my dad's stronger than your dad, or my dad can beat up your dad, but okay. And then they just said he was a top target. So he has been on their menu for quite a while, is the main takeaway from that. And this guy was here yesterday. He's actually on site, and he has a business there. I guess he has a bar. And we'll look at something from him from last night. It's kind of disturbing, the information that he gave, but it still has to be verified. but he is saying that there's reports that people were pulled from their cars and shot. So if that's true, then obviously that's bad. Someone saying I thought Brandy was fine. She was fine yesterday. I have not heard from her today, and I messaged her and Jake this morning, and I've not heard from either one. So they could be flying out of there. I'm not sure exactly. I think they said Wednesday is the earliest they could get out. Let me double check and see if they've not responded back. So let me send one more message. I would assume they're okay, and if they're not, then hopefully we'll hear something either way. But as of right now, we'll just pray they're okay. It seems like everyone else for the most part is okay as well, so I don't want to jinx it or anything. So we have this woman here. She's been doing some reports there. She's flying her drone out. So which one is it? She has several videos on here, basically just saying that, you know, she's fine, she's hanging out. These are just updates.
It's 12:42 in the afternoon and there are no authorities anywhere. The city has been on fire since early this morning, with fires starting at the main avenues, infiltrating major residential areas, Costco, La Comer, Macro Plaza. There's nobody. It's like a dead zone. I can't believe there's no authorities anywhere.
So she also sent her drone out, and she recorded some helicopters. She also sent her drone over
It's
to the
6:33
Costco.
p.m. in Puerto Vallarta, Jalisco, February 22nd. I'm flying my drone over to the Costco. There were reports that it was burnt down. I did see a lot of flames earlier.
So remember the big reports that were saying that, you know, there's those huge flames and everything was saying that they were burning down Costco and all these other stores. Well, I mean, obviously this is just one instance. There can be a lot of other damage in a lot of other places, but here it was a semi-trailer that was on fire. The store itself wasn't on fire.
So I wanted to fly over and see exactly what's left. Initially, I heard that they burnt down the gas station, but it looks like it's actually just a huge trailer near the gas stations that were burnt. I flew it down close to the gas stations. I didn't want to get too close because I don't know if there's people in there. And it looks like the gas stations are intact, which that was really good news because I'm actually really stressed about how accessible gas is going to be in the next few days. So as you can see, here is...
So you have a situation right now where a lot of people are sitting in there. They're not sure how they're going to get gas. They're not sure where or how they're going to drive anywhere. They're not sure if they can get a flight out. Like I said, my friend's there, and she can't get out till Wednesday, it seems like. And we just looked at the flight radar, and we see that there wasn't any flights. There's no major flight activity there at that airport. There's just that one. Is that the same one? No, it's a different one. But yeah, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of flights going on right now. And I'm not sure where they would fly out of. I assume it would be the airport that's right next to them, but I don't see anything else close by. So definitely an interesting situation. And we still have fires and carjackings and things happening all across Mexico. This is from the cartel activity. And then we have the security alert. It's still in place. Due to ongoing security operations and related roadblocks and criminal activity, U.S. citizens in the named location should shelter in place until further notice. And they say just avoid police, law enforcement, military areas, because obviously they're probably battling with cartels. And I can show you some videos that prove there's shootouts and stuff going on. And so it's not as calm as some people are acting as it was. Like last night, one of the main things I was seeing was we're at our hotel. We're not seeing anything right here. Everything's all good. People just blew this out of proportion. And then I wake up this morning and I start looking through all this, all the posts and stuff on X, and there's evidence everywhere that people are getting shot, military's getting killed, cartels attacking people, they're blocking people in, they're throwing out spikes to pop people's wheels of their cars. You know, there's still a lot going on, and it might still get worse. So I would just be very careful if you're in that area. If you know someone that's there, make sure they are not letting their guard down. And if you need the consulate, there's the information right there. And just really quick, I want to go over El Mencho. So his name, I probably butcher it, Nemesio Ruben Oseguera Cervantes, known as El Mencho. He was born in Mexico in 1966. He immigrated to the U.S. A lot of people don't know this, but he was arrested multiple times in the U.S. So stealing property, loaded firearms that were illegal. He was arrested for heroin trafficking in Sacramento, and he was convicted and served time. So he's actually already been a criminal and served time for drug trafficking in the United States. And what did we do? What did we do with him? Well, we put him back in Mexico. So we basically gave him practice in the U.S. We let him practice a little bit here and arrested him, and then we sent him back to Mexico to go all out. And then he moved up through the ranks in the cartels, and then he created his own, which was the CJNG. So you can see their influence here all across Mexico, down here in Central America, South America, down there too as well. And there's a couple areas that has gray. I suspect that there's probably some information there. It says no record, but I would assume that there's other cartels that maybe they're battling within that area, so they don't have full control. And then it says that he controlled a bunch of drug routes and that kind of stuff. And obviously they had the $15 million award, or reward, I should say. And this is him. And there are pictures. There are what looks like to be valid pictures of him passed away. So he was supposed to be just kidnapped in this operation. And during the operation, he got shot. And he did not survive when they evacuated him out. So this was not a planned assassination, as a lot of people are trying to pin it as. It's actually more of a Brandy. Okay, Brandy did just respond. She said they are good. So, yep. So her and Jake just responded, and they are doing okay. Let me see if they said anything else. Nope, they just said, yeah, we're good. Everything is open again. Okay. So it looks like all the stuff around them, the little shops and stuff are open. And it looks like the military police and the Marines and that kind of stuff have been cleaning up the streets. So again, we don't know if this is going to get any worse. We don't know if that was it. Maybe that's all it was. Maybe they just threw a fit for a couple of days and burned a couple things, and all across Mexico now. This was not just in Puerto Vallarta. So we'll see if this actually grows into something bigger. And I wonder who gets the reward. I would assume it'd have to be the Mexican military at this point, right? But they use American intelligence. So do we just pay ourselves the reward? I don't know how that works. But and then it says when they found him, he was wounded in a firefight, captured, and died from gun wounds while being airlifted to Mexico for medical treatment. And then that sparked all the violence, all the roadblocks, vehicle burnings, and clashes. Now, what's interesting is a lot of people have not seen all the violence. They heard about a couple cars burning and the cartel was pissed off, but they haven't seen what actually happened. So I want to go through some of that stuff. There's a lot of it, and I don't want to burn out the entire stream just covering that, but it is good to know. And then here's a report from Dan Dix. He says, trying to leave is a nightmare. Dozens of flights are canceled. The backlog is massive, and I'm currently stranded with no word on when I may be able to return home. Now, he's been doing some good reporting down there, and I believe he is actually a professional journalist, but here's what he had to say.
That is the lineup at the concierge desk here at the hotel. People are waiting for hours and hours and hours. Obviously, a whole bunch of flights have been canceled. There's a massive, massive backlog at the airport. And as you can see, there were dozens and dozens of people there waiting in line for hours and hours. I'm going to have to see if I can rebook the room at this hotel as well, because my room has also, my flight has also been canceled, and there's no word of when I may be able to fly out here. Could be a day, it could be a week. I have absolutely no idea. So we are currently, my wife is waiting in the line. I'm going to try to figure it out. And I'm going to try to continue to do as much coverage as I can. I've got some interviews lined up that I'm going to go do right now. But please stay tuned for the coverage, guys. If you do appreciate this. We've got a lot of brand new expenses popping up. So if anybody wants to pitch in to support my effort.
So I'm just going to say, obviously go show them some love, show them some support. It sounds like they're having some financial stuff. I'm not sure exactly what he does. Let's see. Activist, journalist, award-winning filmmaker. So yeah. So if you want to support him, definitely go over there and check him out. It looks like he's followed by a lot of the people that are on the Charlie Kirk case as well. So I'm gonna ask Brandy if they want to come on. They said that things are open, so I don't know if they're out walking around or what. Let's see if they want to give an update. Hopefully we'll have better Wi-Fi than we did yesterday. All right. So now we'll start getting into some of this stuff. This is this is all the media. So this is, you know, shootouts. I'm not going to show any gore, but there's, you know, there's bodies and things, and there's the military moving in, the cartel coming in and shooting everywhere, reports of people being, you know, hostages being taken and people being pulled out of their cars and being shot and stuff like that. So this is the stuff that no one's really showing. And I think it's important that people have an idea of what's actually going on.
No, ya se pararon. Aguanta, aguanta, aguanta. Ya. Chinga tu madre.
So that was an IED. So that's an explosive device, and that's from the cartels. And some are saying they got some pretty high level training, some pretty high level military training from, they're not sure where, but they think it's somewhere overseas. So these guys have been trained by people outside of the cartel, it seems. And then obviously we had the resort.
So I don't know if you can see that, but I can see the flames underneath that black smoke. Major flames there. Huge plumes everywhere. Another big one over there. Another one directly behind this resort we're staying at. Pretty much surrounded by this right now.
This is pretty surreal. You have people on the beach, they're at a resort, they're hanging out, they're eating and drinking, they're having margaritas, they're doing selfies. And then just a few blocks away, you have cartels burning cars and buildings and having shootouts with military. So this is kind of what I've heard that is similar. Like if you're on the resort, you're fine. If you're off the resort, you might end up dead or kidnapped or something. So this kind of fits that, but it's still very strange to me. And obviously, YouTube likes those likes. So if you guys can hit that like really quick, that would be great. And I know sometimes you guys will watch videos and forget to hit like. So if you guys can do that really quick, that would be awesome. And we're right now, anyone that's coming in, we are looking through some of the media. We've covered some of the latest stuff that happened today, and there's not really many changes. And my friend who was there, she just messaged me and she said they're okay too. They're starting to open things back up. They're starting to clear the streets. So here's the Costco. And again, based on that other picture that we saw from the other woman, where's it at? Right here.
6:59 p.m.
No, not that one. Where is it?
It's
Here.
6:33 p.m. in Puerto Vallarta, Jalisco, February 22nd. I'm flying my...
So she flew her drone over there, and the Costco was fine. But the semi-trailer or whatever's here was what was lit on fire. I don't know if that's the same one as this. They're both in Puerto Vallarta. So I would assume it's the same one. I don't know if there's more than one. And then you have all kinds of explosions. Fires, gunshot. So this was overnight. So for people saying that there was nothing going on and it wasn't a big deal and there's nothing to worry about, that's what was going on. This, I just want to point this out too. This video here is supposed to be showing El Mencho's son, supposedly. And I've seen several things saying that this was fake. But if it's true, this is supposedly the son of El Mencho being transferred, and he's caught. And he's supposed to be, I don't know if he's like next in command, but this is supposed to be supposedly him being caught. Again, I said, you know, other people said this was fake. They said this video was from like another year, like 2024 or something. So just take that one with a grain of salt. And then here you have the cartel moving in. So as you can see, they're coming in by the truckload. Hundreds or thousands of them for sure. And here's just some more damage. This is not just Puerto Vallarta. This is across Mexico. So I want to make sure people realize that this is much wider spread than what you're seeing. Most of the stuff I have from Puerto Vallarta. There's a few things from Guadalajara, and I think one thing from Tijuana. But this is in several cities across central and southern Mexico. And it sounds like maybe some monkeys. There's some dogs barking or something too. And this is him. So he has like a little mini afro thing going on there. But this is his mugshots, I believe, from when he was in the US. Yeah, San Francisco. So this is San Francisco Police Department. So he was ours. We did have him for a while. He was in custody. He was moving narcotics here. And then we deported him back to Mexico. And then he grew to the insane amount of power that he had there before he got killed. And then this is some stores. People initially were saying that it was just vehicles on the outside and they weren't hurting anyone else or burning down stores. This is an OXXO. I'm not sure exactly what they do. I don't know if that's a grocery store or gas station or what, but they hit several of those. They were throwing grenades and things inside. And pouring gasoline and then lighting it on fire. So that's some of the stuff that they were doing. And you can see, if you look across this landscape, I don't know if you guys can see that. Very, very widespread. So that's all the way across the entire bay on the whole other side of, of this entire landscape. That whole thing is all smoked up. So there's probably hundreds of vehicles that were lit on fire and blockading everything. And update from Brandy. She said they're checking out of the hotel. So hopefully they will get out of there today. And this is how the cartels look. Not all of them, obviously, but the highest level ones. They have full tactical gear, bulletproof vests, grenades, multiple different types of weapons. They have drones with explosives. They have jammers. So they have equipment where they can jam cell phones and jam equipment from the military.
A ver si muy verga te topas con nosotros. Ahí tengo desamarrados los perros, culero. Y así voy a andar patrullando. Pues tu puta madre.
So as you can see, if you're military, you do not want to fight another. Basically, they're a whole nother military, and that's not good. And there's more shootouts. I won't show that one. And then lots of notices and stuff going out for people. You know, more damage. And I just put this list together. So there's several things in here. So this says more than 1,000 people are stranded inside the Guadalajara Zoo after red alert was activated due to blockades in Jalisco. So people had to spend the night there, and they had police come in to protect them. So they're stuck in the zoo with the animals. So this is widespread. This is not just like a little localized thing. And this is very well coordinated and would probably take thousands of people. So you can hear gunshots in the distance. You can hear explosions. There were reports of people going up into the mountains to get away from the cartels. I believe there's a UFC fighter who was out there. And this is kind of a, I won't say funny, but this is something that was going around. This is the Deltas. This is supposed to be like their high level guys. So you see it says Deltas on his little backpack there. But the thing everyone's laughing about is his gun doesn't have any sights. So if you know anything about firearms and shooting and that kind of stuff, you'd have some kind of optic to be able to aim with, and there's not one there. So that's not good. Like, I mean, can you hit stuff still? Technically, yes, if you aim very carefully, but you're basically aiming with the whole gun, the whole barrel. So that's not professional, but this is supposed to be the top level guys. Now, I don't know about you, but bright white on the back of a camouflage thing, I think it's going to give away your position. So this just looks really amateur, but that's been going around a lot too. We already saw her. More explosions and things at night. They're letting it. So they're going up to random people and lighting their cars on fire. So they're forcing the people to get out at gunpoint. Okay, that music's probably going to give me a copyright strike, but you get the idea. And then you have, they're just driving into places with guns, shooting, causing chaos, lighting things on fire. This is the military here. Now, I have been told, I have a sister-in-law who's from Mexico, and she says that it's not uncommon in Mexico to see people with guns like this in the street. That's not uncommon for the military and the police. Full machine guns just hanging out. Same with the armored vehicles. Just another day to them, but obviously now they're shooting out with the cartels. You can see more damage, and that was last night. So I know a lot of stuff happened in the daytime. And then we have this message. This is from Carolyn Leavitt. This is kind of, or Levitt. This is kind of the official, I guess, U.S. version of what happened. The United States provided intelligence support to the Mexican government in order to assist in an operation in Talpalpa, Jalisco, Mexico, in which Nemesio El Mencho Oseguera Cervantes, an infamous drug lord and leader with the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, was eliminated. El Mencho was a top target for the Mexican and United States government as one of the top traffickers of fentanyl into our homeland. I've also heard many other drugs and also some human movement. Okay. And then they said last year, President Trump rightfully designated them as foreign terrorist organization because that's exactly what it is. In this operation, 3 additional cartel members were killed. I've heard 7, but this was early on. This was 15 hours ago. And 3 were wounded, 2 were arrested. President Trump has he's been very clear. The U.S. will ensure narco-terrorists sending deadly drugs to our homeland are forced to face the wrath of justice they have long deserved. So this is their official, like, we're glad this happened. It's going to happen to others that do similar type of things. Same with like Venezuela, right? I guess Colombia as well. They've warned them. So I guess it's a good thing, technically. But yeah, still kind of strange the way everything's happening all at the same time. And then this is supposed to be evacuation. So this is a Black Hawk. And then there's some National Guard members. There's been several National Guards killed. As far as I saw last time, I think it was it 1,000? I want to say 1,000 or 1,200 dead total between the cartel, random people that are on the streets and stuff, and the military. So Jake says that. So Jake, again, he's in Puerto Vallarta. He says people are still on high alert, but things are basically back to normal. So the shops and stuff are open again, and everything's kind of back to business as usual. So in the chat, if you would just look at these people. First of all, they're on the top floor and there's things burning below them. My first instinct, if they're burning cars, especially right in front of buildings and they're burning buildings, I would not be on the top floor. I would not be on the roof. But put a 1 if you would just be hanging out, doing business as usual, and put a 2 if you'd be like, holy crap, let's get out of here. They are definitely just hanging out. They seem like they're completely comfortable. Still in their Speedos. Just having a good time. That is crazy. And then this is like when they roll into town. So, and obviously there's a lot of shooting and that kind of stuff. So if you have PTSD or anything, this is a warning. But they just roll in town, just start shooting everything, burning stuff down. Then they're in and out. A lot of times they'll come on motorcycles and ATVs, apparently. No, that is heavy gunfire. That's those are not like AR-15s. Those are very large guns, probably on vehicles. So again, this is kind of like a civil war almost. I'd say it is a civil war, and people are downplaying it significantly. But just looking at all the stuff that's going on, how can you say that? Oh, things are back to normal, not a big deal. They just burned a few vehicles and now they're back doing what they're doing. It's basically a civil war with tourists sitting on the beach. And to me, that's insane. Yeah, it sounds like a 50 cal. Yeah. Sounds like a big boy. A couple of people said that. What's so civil about war anyway? So we'll keep going through some of this and then we'll check for some updates. But you can see, obviously, there's some pretty heavy duty vehicles as well. I did see one shootout where the cartel looks like they have bulletproof glass. So they were getting shot at by the military and you could see it hitting the glass, but it wasn't going through. Luban, thanks for the super, says, not going to lie, I'd be inhaling an 8-ball with the vodka and Red Bull and just be hoping for the best. Yeah, I think a lot of people were self-medicating. I saw a few interviews where people were on there and they were pretty gone. And the news host even says something to that effect. I think they're drinking to deal with the stress or something similar. Jake didn't seem too worried last night. But you have to remember, too, that they're in a hotel up on the balcony on the beach away from the main part of the city where a lot of the burning and stuff is happening. And this is happening all across Mexico. So for anyone that's newer in here, I see there's a lot more people in here now, but we were checking flight radar and stuff earlier. And it looks like there's a couple flights that are going in and out of both Guadalajara and Puerto Vallarta International, but you can see there's plenty of flights going. So there's landings, there's takeoffs. So there's definitely activity happening there. But this is the map of the fires and things happening across Mexico. So Puerto Vallarta, this is where I've been showing images and stuff from. There's some from Guadalajara, but this location here is about 5 hours from Jalisco, which is, I think, where most of this started. But all these red spots you're seeing on this map, this is all the locations where there's fires and incidents, they call them. And it goes down south as well, down into South America. Not so much towards us, right? So not so much on our border up here, although some of these are higher than yesterday. But until we start seeing them right here on the border, I'm guessing most people won't care. They won't report on it. A lot of the big news agencies, they're giving like little short updates, but they're not really showing this any attention, even though we have American citizens and tourists out there. I find that very interesting. And then I know some of you just got in here. So we'll go back to a few of these reports from Oscar. So he is Oscar Ramirez with Real America's Voice. I think a lot of you know who he is. He also goes by Oscar Blue. But make sure you guys go give him a follow. He's been doing some great reporting on the ground there, and he's a journalist.
The violence has escalated not only in the part of Puerto Vallarta, but also in the part of Jalisco in the state of Michoacán, where Nemesio Oseguera Mencho, the guy that was gunned down, had a lot of power and a lot of presence. This escalated into the north cities and the north borders that connect to the United States of America. One of them, it is the city that I am located in Tijuana, where more than 20 incidents have been, noticeable. And that incidents, what do I mean by incidents? Burning not also of automobiles, but also at businesses, pharmacies, and these kind of oxos that they are, they can resemble as a 7-Eleven. Yesterday, I reported on the ground of 4 vehicles that they were burned. One of them was concerning. They burned a pickup truck in front of the border wall that is just steps away from the United States authority. I also said this is a national security issue. Why? Because these cartel members, they burned this vehicle in front of the border wall, but they have cameras of the United States government. So they want to let the United States government know that they're actually doing this on the purpose to unstabilize the security of the citizens of Mexico, and to send a great message to the United States authorities that they still have presence on these communities and these neighborhoods.
Wow, Oscar, this is a very, very scary situation. Obviously, this is orchestrated, right? This is a strategy by the cartels. Where does it end? Where do you think this goes next?
Well, the federal government of Mexico is being greatly pushed by the United States government. There's already been, they already came out giving out statements that this mission, executing El Mencho, was a collaboration with intelligence by the United States authorities to just take him out. The ones that led the operation were the federal government of Mexico. Now, what the federal government of Mexico needs to do is provide the security for the Mexican citizens. Ultimately, also, we have hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of American tourists located in the central parts like Puerto Vallarta, also Jalisco, and parts like Morelia. We have hundreds of thousands of American citizens right here in the city of Tijuana who cross daily to the United States of America to go to work, to provide the security for those citizens, and also ultimately at the end of the day to provide security for Mexican citizens. Now, there was a post that was circulating yesterday late at night in Tijuana that they were threatening Mexican citizens to not go out after 10 o'clock at night because they were going to start shooting civilians. That was a post that they made on social media. We do not know if it is a credible post or if it's not a credible post, but Mexican citizens are scared to go out late at night. And just late at night, they burned more than 3 vehicles in international roads that they connect from the west side into the east side of the city.
Oscar, you brought this up about Tijuana. I lived in San Diego for a while and had so many friends that, like you said, commuted across the border every day. So there's a lot of Americans' lives that are at risk too. I think about this, there's so many cartel members that have been pouring into the United States under the negligence of the Biden administration, keeping our border wide open. Are you worried that we might see situations like this happen on our soil?
That is incredible that you brought that up, because under the Biden administration, the cartel grew 2 times bigger, 2 times stronger on territory, on land, financially, and in technology. And we're seeing the result of that because of the negligence of the Biden administration. Who would ever thought in Tijuana that the Cartel Jalisco new generation had this enormous presence? A lot of these studies and the intelligence of the Intelligence Department of Mexico, they thought that the Sinaloa cartel was the one that it was in charge of the state of Baja California. But now we know that it's completely the contrast and the.
One of you guys asked if which cartels are fighting who. It's kind of always an ongoing thing. So there's disputed territories and that kind of stuff. I can see if I can pull up a cartel map, but there's several. There's a dozen or more different cartels that have their theoretical territory, and then they have undisputed borders where they kind of, they have clashes, and they're kind of untouched regions, kind of off limits. But I want to show you this guy here really quick. This is his account last night. And some of you have seen this, some of you haven't. But he says some things in here that are very disturbing. And I hope that this is not the direction that things are going to be going over the next couple of days.
Well, it's 8 o'clock now, folks. And it seems actually to be pretty calm all around the general area.
Give me 1 second. I think I have to add this to the other tab. All right, there. Now you can see it. That's better.
There's a few lights. Well, it's 8 o'clock now, folks. And it seems actually to be pretty calm all around the general area. There's a few lights on around the place. So they might even, who knows, maybe, I don't think it's a restaurant. I think it's just a residence. The family, there's the people that I'm staying with, well, they're just staying next door. They're in the same building as us. Everything looks kind of calm at the moment. Looks pretty good. A few people out here cruising around. No shops open, of course. Nothing's open. Look out, here comes a motorbike, which is always a problem. You cannot trust people on motorbikes because many of them are cartel. They tend to arrive on motorbikes and do their damage. And as I showed you, I think on a video or posted somewhere, they've been driving around on motorbikes and throwing out three-corner spiked jacks all over the street so that people can't drive, can't leave the area.
So if you didn't hear that, they're throwing spikes on the street to pop tires of vehicles so they can't leave.
So, like, even if I wanted to go and hang out with Jeff at the moment, Jeff's sort of sheltering way over there. He's like way over the other side over there near the marinas. And I'm up in Centro, so well, we can't even drive over there. Even if I wanted to go and shelter at Jeff's place with some company, I can't because we don't know that we would make it. They're actually pulling people out of cars, I've heard, and several people have actually been shot. Apparently.
Did you hear that? So I've heard this from a couple different people. I've heard that there's some hostage situations. And I've also heard, he said it as well, but I've heard from other people that they were pulling people from cars and shooting at cars of civilians and tourists. So he just said that they heard from, several different instances of people being pulled from vehicles and shot.
I can't confirm it, but I was told that a couple of the speakers were actually in a taxi and the taxi got pulled over and the taxi driver got shot. I don't know how true that is. I mean, you're hearing all sorts of reports. There have been fake videos going out as well. There was a fake video, or there was video of a plane on fire at Guadalajara Airport, and that appears to have been faked, AI or something like that. But
I think what he's talking about with that is there was a post that went out that was supposedly, let's see if I can find it. Nope. That's none of these. There was an image that went out and I can't seem to find it right now. But what it was some people had shared some photos saying that the airports were shut down and no one could leave, and they had a airplane on fire. Now, clearly, just from what we just searched, you can see that they have done that in the past, but he's saying that it was just AI or some rumors, at least at Puerto Vallarta International Airport.
Things have sort of calmed down a fair bit out here tonight, folks, so that's a good thing. But yeah, I will bring you another report as more information comes to hand. I mean, hopefully this will be over pretty quickly, but I don't know. The real problem is that they've torched all of the food stores. They've torched all the food stores, all the supermarkets, all the OXXOs.
So again, those OXXOs, I'm not sure exactly what that is. If you guys know, can you put that in chat? And I see someone says there's some new live leak drops. We'll check out and see if we can find anything new. But he's saying that they torched the food stores and the water and banks and some gas stations. So that's what you would do if you're declaring war on a country. So I hope, I hope it's not going to be something that's that extreme. But you have to remember, in a couple of days, and he talks about this too, in a couple of days, you're going to run out of food. You're going to run out of water. So you're going to run into a situation where you're going to have thousands of people fighting over a small amount of resources. And apparently, like that one guy was saying, I think it's Ben Nix or something. Ben Dix is his name. He was saying that, people can't get flights out either. So you're stuck in a situation where there's no resources or very low resources for only a couple of days, and you can't leave. So that's not a good scenario.
So And apparently a few banks have been hit as well. So there's no way anyone can get cash. There's no way anyone can go and buy food because the food stores have been destroyed. So the problem's going to be in about 3 or 4 days from now when people start running out of food. That's when it's going to become very unsafe, and you're going to have locals turning on anyone who looks like they've got anything of value. And that's when things get really dangerous. So hopefully we'll be out of here before then. Hopefully there will be some sort of a game plan. We can find some way of getting out of here. The airport's closed. Hopefully some of the roads will be open within the next day or so, and we might be able to leave this area, which would be a good thing to do, I think. But as you can see, I mean, there are people wandering around.
I'm going to put my email and my X. If you guys have any good videos or tips or anything you want to send me that I can show during the stream, feel free to send it my way.
Sort of stuff happens. But yeah, I will keep you updated as more information comes to hand. But for now, things are pretty calm after what has been a pretty intense sort of a day. And still could be a lot of action. We don't know. There's been fires going off in the romantic zone. There's been a couple of bombs go off over there in the last hour or so. But
you see how nonchalant he is? There's been a few bombs went off over there, and a few explosions over this way, a little bit of gunfire right over my head, but it's not too bad. Just a regular day. People are just hanging out. Maybe that's how it is in Mexico. I don't know.
It seems pretty good here, so yeah, I'll get back inside. It's not really safe to be on the streets too much while all this is going on, folks. But hey, you can't cower too much in the face of it all. And I'll bring you another report soon, folks. Take care until then. And I am safe. Don't worry about me, folks. I'm good in all these situations. This is really just a few firecrackers. It's nothing compared to what you see in Gaza.
Question.
So, yeah.
Okay, so I've been
So I'm looking around to see if there's anything else, like new stuff coming out. Some of you guys said there were some new reports. I haven't seen much at this point. The newest stuff that I'd seen was from Oscar, and there wasn't a ton there.
In the unstableness of Mexico, inner wars were going to start. The unstableness of Mexico was going to demonstrate this is what is actually happening. Now, let's see how the federal government is going to come and protect the Mexican citizens and also the international citizens, not only American citizens. That we do have a huge presence on tourist areas, but like Tijuana, it is one of the most transit cities in the world in terms to coming back and forth for American citizens. We got hundreds of thousands of them that they are concerned right now. The whole city right now, Steve, let me tell you, Tijuana is a ghost town right now. Businesses are closing at 6 o'clock in the evening. There was a post on social media on Facebook that it was threatening the citizens of Tijuana and also American citizens that they were going to start shooting at civilians after 10 o'clock at night. That was considered a fake post, but it is also threatening to citizens that the power of the cartel, of how they're showing it to just basically terrorize the citizens of Tijuana and terrorize the citizens of Puerto Vallarta, Jalisco, Michoacán, and places that they have a lot of presence. The federal government had just gave out a statement right now in the morning conference. The head of Sedena, the military, was in tears to say that there were fallen soldiers on this operation, and that it was an operation that it needed to be done, and that they demonstrated the force of the state in collaboration with the intelligence of the American government. That is one of the most important things that it needs to be addressed. It is that the head of the military of Mexico has said that there's collaboration with the American intelligence to execute this mission, that it was perfectly done, almost perfectly done in the central parts of the country.
So this was a joint operation, obviously, and apparently was successful. I mean, this it's an interesting situation. You have Iran, you have the e-files, you have the UFO disclosure just supposedly coming out, and then I guess apparently it sounds like maybe the president of Mexico was getting ready to help out Cuba or something similar, or getting friendly with Cuba, and then this happens. So this might have been one of those things where, it's a distraction, possibly. Let's see. Second in charge has assumed power. I did see something about someone named El Yogurt. Let's see, El Yogurt Cartel. This guy here.
¿Cómo andas, Gabriel? Aquí andamos ir en Europa, ¿no? Oiga, ya aquí andamos encargados. Nomás para ver si va a estar con nosotros o no, porque está ayudando a los carteles unidos y...
And I don't speak Spanish, but the translation of this earlier was basically he's calling out the other cartels and saying, hey, I'm clearly here. You can see me. So either you can join me or you can be with them. So I think he's assuming leadership. And if it's someone other than this, then let me know. Send it to my email or to X. But this is the only one I've seen so far that has kind of assumed the lead. Yeah, El Yogurt. Abraham Jesus Kano. So it looks like this might be the new one, or at least the new one to step up first. And you know, he's got some history. So I hope it's not one of those situations where someone immediately jumps right in. Yeah, so here's the translation. You know, hopefully if someone jumps in, they take them out right away and prevent this from building back up.
¿Cómo andas, Gabriel? Aquí andamos ir en Europa, ¿no? Oiga, ya aquí andamos encargados. Nomás para ver si va a estar con nosotros o no, porque está ayudando a los carteles unidos y pues le mandamos el mensaje que se acomode con nosotros.
So he basically just said, you can settle in with us or get comfortable with them. So it sounds like he's saying pick a side. He who makes the first video. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Whoever calls it first.
Se acomode bien con ellos porque los vergazos van bien. Aquí estamos en los bancos, para que sepa nomás. Y no me escondo, para que vea.
And I don't know if you guys know this or not, but there's a huge percentage of Canadians, especially in Puerto Vallarta anyway. Let me see if it'll give us a number. Let's see. What percent of Puerto Vallarta is Canadian? See if we can get an actual number here. But I'd heard from many people that a huge number, like 80% or something crazy, of the people that live there, not that visited, was Canadian, which I find very, very strange. Just looking at chat here as well. Make sure you guys hit that like. Obviously, we're trying to give you some coverage. Mainstream media is not really covering this stuff. So people like myself and Ikid Mel and a few others are trying to show you guys some of the stuff that's going on. And that like lets you know that, or lets YouTube know that you appreciate it. Need to clean up corruption in Mexico. That could be quite the feat. I don't know if the cartels will ever be run out of Mexico. You know, just like the gangs and mafias in the U.S., I think they're always going to exist. I don't think there's any way to eradicate them completely, because someone always pops up in place. So they are really digging. This is Grok. I like that it shows you the process, though, of everything that it's searching through. About 500,000 people there in Puerto Vallarta. Only 35,000 Americans. Okay, here we go. According to a 2020, that's a while ago, but Puerto Vallarta had a population of 291,000. Estimates Canadian born. That's getting very detailed. I just want the percent. So 3 to 7% of Puerto Vallarta affected population, with over 167,000 Canadians who are surviving. So 3 to 7% is much lower than what I was told and have seen in the last couple of days covering this stuff, but I'm not sure. They went through some crazy stuff to try and figure out these numbers. So I don't know exactly what numbers they're giving here, but yeah, a lot of Canadians there, and obviously I think it sounds like that guy, Max, is maybe Australian or something. I'm not sure what he is. If someone else knows, if someone actually knows where he's from or whatever, then let me know for sure. But all right, let's go look at Cartel.
Inner wars were.
So this was the guy.
Dick's here reporting for press.
He's the one that was at the airport and was saying that there's a huge line and he can't get out and all that kind of stuff.
This is Dan Dix here reporting for Press for Truth, coming at you here live in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Just had the military driving past me, and as I understand it, I should not be around anywhere where the police or the military are, because they are the target right now. As you can see, this whole place is like deserted right now because there's burning cars back there, burning cars right here, still smoldering, and the situation is incredibly intense. As I'm sure you've already heard, there was a top drug lord cartel member, El Mencho, who has been killed. I believe there was a $15 million bounty on this man's head, and he is now dead. And that has caused this whole situation to pop off. The place looks like an absolute war zone right now, folks. Cartel has been setting up blockades in the streets, stopping cars. A whole bus was set on fire. You've got cartel members who literally look like the military. These guys.
I did not hear. Well, actually, so after the stream, I got an email and also a message on X from Morgan. So for people asking about Morgan from last night, I think it's M. Morgan was the name. But yeah, I think Morgan's okay. She was saying that they're safe as of right now, and they have the supplies and stuff they need for right now. So as long as things don't get significantly worse, I think she'll be good. And I think she'll probably reach out if there's some issues.
Guys are serious. These guys mean business. Costco was set on fire. A hospital was under attack. People running for their lives. There was the Guadalajara airport that was under attack. People literally running all over the place, screaming and crying. The Puerto Vallarta airport as well has had a big scare. A lot of people were evacuated on the tarmac. Had to run out on the runway to get away from the intense situation. And it seems like it's not about to slow down anytime soon. As I understand it, the cartel have announced that they are going to be entering private homes and potentially hotel resort.
So now this was the big thing yesterday. Everyone was saying that, they're worried about kind of what we saw, I guess, technically in Israel, right? On October 7th, whatever day that was. Yeah, it just, yes means different things in the poll. Yeah, yeah. So, El Yogurt is the one that we just saw. He's the one that was basically saying the other cartels can join him, or they can settle with him, or they can stick and be comfortable with whoever they're with. But I think he's the one that came out and was saying that basically he's taken over. The power vacuum may create inside cartel wars. I think it already has, and I think that's why we're seeing kind of some of this civil war type of stuff going on. But back to this, there was this warning yesterday before 5 p.m. that if the demands were not met, that the cartels would start attacking people, homes, businesses, hotels, and possibly killing and kidnapping. And that didn't happen as far as I know. So I have not seen anything necessarily confirming that, at least indoors. But there were people who were caught outside that it seems that some of that was going on for sure. Let's see, just looking at chat. It's a combination. You're saying do not focus on the cartels, focus on the spoon that's stirring the pot. Yeah. It's both. You can't have one without the other. But I get what you're saying. There's definitely people and things happening that are putting people in power and in place. Where'd they get all the weapons from? I mean, they have 50 cals, they have armored vehicles and all that kind of. Are they building that stuff in Mexico? I'm guessing they got it from somewhere else.
At 5 p.m. Our time, if their demands are not met. So this thing could be just the beginning of what we're seeing here. I mean, the situation is so intense. I've been doing reports from my resort where there was just smoke surrounding all over the place, cars being lit on fire everywhere. And, you know, I've been posting those to my Twitter, Dan Dix PFT. A lot of people have been re-uploading the footage and just saying, look at this footage a tourist got. I'm not a tourist, guys. I'm a journalist. I'm here working, actually. I've been speaking at a conference for the last 5 days in attendance at this conference. And I'm here now documenting on this situation live. And it was a little scary being over there right as I'm starting the video. I had military rolling up on me, and as I understand it, that could often be cartel members. And if it's not, these guys are the guys who are being targeted by the cartel members. So very, very intense situation popping off right here. As I said, you know, go to my Twitter if you want to keep up to date with my my reports on this. Dan.
And make sure, you know, if you guys get a chance, show him some love, go follow. He's on the ground. He's doing his thing. Sounds like he's a professional journalist, or at least, you know, self-appointed one. I think he does work for some company. What is it? Press for Truth. So it looks like he's in Canada. So, yeah, if you want to support him, Press for Truth, give him a follow. But he's definitely been doing some pretty good reporting out there. A few different things so far. And let me pull over this article here. So it looks like the latest. U.S. citizens urged to still shelter in place. This is from today. This was from basically a few minutes ago. U.S. citizens urged to shelter in place after Mexico drug lords killing sparks wave of violence. So now this is what some of you were talking about. This is the cartel versus Mexican military kind of a civil war, right? And apparently it's actually happening. I don't know how big of a scale it's on, but I guess we'll find out. So obviously we know that the boss was killed, and he was killed along eight. Let's see. I didn't know about this. Interesting. He was killed alongside 8 other cartel members. Let's see. Do we have a direct? Interesting. So 8 cartel members were killed during that military operation. So it wasn't just the boss. So there was multiple of them. Okay. Good to know. And widespread unrest. Suspect gang members torching buses and businesses while clashing with security forces. Claudia Sheinbaum said peace, security, and normalcy are being maintained across the country. I think based on the videos that we've seen, that's probably not true, at least not everywhere. And then we know there's tourists stranded. U.S. Department 24/7 crisis line suspended. Yeah, so nothing new there. So it looks like the tourists are still there, still, you know, people infighting and that kind of stuff. And then we know the kingpin was killed with some of his cartels. So like I said, there's not a ton of stuff that's new or changed going on. I've been searching around and I don't see a lot of stuff that is needing to be reported at this point. But this is interesting.
Yes. She's calling.
A lot of people are talking about Sheinbaum. I don't have an opinion. I don't know much about her. But this little article, whatever you want to call this little short snippet came out. And there's a senator that is apparently anti-Sheinbaum.
The president of Mexico is furious. She's calling Mexican Senator Lily Tellez a traitor for coming on Fox Noticias with me a few days ago and saying this. Listen.
The help from the United States to fight the cartels in Mexico is absolutely welcome, and that is how the majority of Mexicans feel. The only ones who don't like that President Trump is sending help and trying to support Mexicans against the cartels are the narco politicians. That includes President Sheinbaum.
Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum responding, saying, quote, "It's not a minor issue that a senator gave an interview to a foreign media outlet calling for intervention." Here to discuss is that Mexican Senator Lily Tellez. Senator Tellez, welcome to Fox Noticias. I'm just going to get right to it. Is Mexico a narco state?
Yes, it is. And we all Mexicans know about it. And Mexicans are afraid of the alliance between the Mexican government and the cartels that have infested our nation.
Can you explain this alliance between the president, her party, the Morena party, and the cartels?
Yes, the party has financed, has given, the cartels have given so much money to these politicians, narco politicians of Morena, to get into office, to get the power. So they protect, the Mexican government protects the cartels. That is why President Sheinbaum doesn't want the strong American leadership to help Mexico defeat the cartels. And also Sheinbaum doesn't want the rest of the world to know what is happening here in Mexico.
And if you're not familiar, Sheinbaum specifically said that she did not want war with the cartels. She's kind of taken the approach like they do in the U.S. in certain cities, where if criminals are only, stealing $1,000 worth of stuff, that we're not gonna mess with them. We're not gonna prosecute them. If it's 1,000 or less, just let them do what they're doing. She kind of seems similar to that, and a lot of people think that she has alleged ties to the cartel as well. So maybe she's being threatened or paid off or whatever it may be. But I think that's where a lot of this stuff is going.
We are on the steps to be the next Venezuela. She is aligned with Venezuela's dictator, with Cuba, and we are losing our country. They have destroyed our Republican institutions, the democratic state, and we must. I think we all Mexicans want and welcome the support of the United States to assist Mexican people against the cartels that have us all in this crisis with the traffic in fentanyl and migrants.
So her response to this, and I know this because her spokesperson came on our show in response to your interview, and they say, well, we just turned over 26 cartel members. We're working, we're sharing intelligence. What are they not doing? And why is she so resistant? She sort of speaks out of two sides of her mouth. We're working with you, Trump. And then she's chastising you for saying, we need more help from the United States to crush the cartels.
Because she really doesn't want the help of the United States. She is lying to Mexican people, telling Mexican people that the United States will get in control of the whole country. Right. I never listened such nonsense from President Trump. What we have listened is that President Trump wants to help Mexican people against the cartels. Mexican people are suffering. So what they do is very, very little. We have huge narco politics.
So really quick, make sure you guys hit that like. Also, put a 1 if you think that Trump is going to be helping with the cartels and doing something good at the border, and put a 2 if you think that it's all just part of the game, like Iran and stuff going on with the e-files and the UFO stuff. So put a 1 if you're pro-Trump, put a 2 if you are anti-Trump, or at least anti what's happening with the cartels in the border. Looks like about 50-50. Interesting. Okay.
Politicians here in the Senate, in the presidents, governors. Mexico is a very dangerous place.
Well, that brings me to my next question, because you are speaking very bluntly, very clearly about Mexico being a narco state and the alliance and the connections to the president of Mexico. Are you afraid for your life?
Yes, I am afraid. And the president has threatened me to proceed against me with criminal prosecution, to get me out of the Senate and get me in jail, just because I told you in this space and Fox News what is the reality of our country with the cartels. The cartels are dominating everything here in Mexico. They are in all the offices of the government, in the states, in the cities, and in the national government. So, of course, I am afraid, but I want people to know I will not step back. And I pray under God's guidance that we, the United States and Mexico, must work together to defeat the cartels and to get freedom for our country, for Mexico, to stop it from being the next Venezuela.
Senator Lily Reyes.
Does anyone else find it troubling that every time anyone stands up to a current leader or a current administration, their life gets threatened or they get taken out. Especially considering these people are supposed to be voted in. Yeah. If you're definitely, if you're a praying person, pray for her safety. Definitely pray for her safety. She seems like she's one of the few that's actually standing up and saying something. And there's just endless videos. So this is grenades. So I don't know if you've ever, I've never been in war. Like I've never had like, you know, wartime experience, but I mean, you're just shopping, you're hanging out in a supermarket, and all of a sudden a couple grenades get thrown and people fly by on a motorcycle and stuff blows up, and then, you know, there's a fire. There is a video, I'm not going to show it. There's a video of a woman who's on fire. She's alive, but she comes out of one of these places where they've done this. They usually throw in like gasoline and light that on fire, but she comes out and she is in flames, and they put her on the ground and have her stop, drop, and roll and all that stuff from kindergarten. But it's pretty crazy. I mean, clearly she wasn't a military or police, so they're not only attacking the military.
¡Vámonos! ¡Vámonos!
So this is not a military or whatever you want to call it only. Oh, let me go back. This is not a military only versus cartel type of situation. If it was, then we wouldn't be seeing some of these videos that we're seeing. It seems to me like it's definitely just piss off everyone, harass all the people, and make it a major issue. And there are this is a shootout. This is between the cartel and the military. To the motorcycle. Now, I don't know if you saw that. Don't these, so to me, these look like orange, like vests, like maybe construction worker vests. Not the best thing to wear if you're trying to not get shot, but I'm not a professional. Let me turn this down. This one here, this is in a totally different area. So this is in Cortijo, Las Canadas de Zopapan. This is not in the exact area that the other stuff was in, and there's also stuff in Guadalajara.
Pásense para abajo, pásense para abajo. Señora, pásense para abajo. Pásense para abajo. Pásense para abajo. Para abajo. Pásense para abajo.
I'm not sure if this person is a bot or not. Nate Earl. My parents are at a beach resort in Puerto Vallarta. When will they let them leave the resort and fly back? Please help. We are scared. Someone please help me. So my friend is also there. My friend Brandy and also Jake. They're both there. And as of right now, they said they're just hanging out. The businesses are open again. People are doing business as usual. So I would say, you know, if they're in that general area, as of right now, it seems like everything's fine in Puerto Vallarta as far as the, you know, the touristy areas and the hotels. So I would say probably, unless you hear something bad, I wouldn't worry about it too much, at least not right now. Let's see, is that it for that one? Yeah. Yeah, until they come for your preps. I don't know how many people are preppers in Mexico, but and yeah, if you're a praying person, just pray for everyone's safety. You know, it never hurts to pray. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, mods. Good morning, members. Don't forget to like hit the like and subscribe. If you want to help the channel, there's stuff in the description. There's ways you can purchase merch or donate or things like that if you have the capability. Yeah, someone's saying that's a bot. That's what I was, especially with the all caps. That's what I was expecting. But typically bots get caught by my filter. So let's see. What I'm hearing on the ground isn't matching what we are seeing online. Correct. They are not matching. And I've seen there's a few different things. Let me mute this. There's a few different things I've seen where they'll show a video and say, hey, this just happened in fill in the blank city. Holy crap, they're shooting, they're killing people. And then Grok will say that, you know, this is from 2022 or something. So not everything that we're seeing may necessarily be real content. Susan, thanks for the super. Looks like there's a couple bots. Well, that's all right. It happens. It's unavoidable. All right, let's see here. So I think this is the one I was talking about. Yeah. Okay, I think I can show this one because no one actually it doesn't show any gore or anything. Now I'm just going to preface this. If you have PTSD or anything like that from, you know, military experience or something, you might not want to watch this. You might want to mute it. So I'll just give you that quick heads up. But it's just showing a gunfight. And you'll see, it looks like his windshield is bulletproof.
¿Ya se te apareció Akira? Se te apareció el Vitachi, hijo de tu puta madre. ¡Hazte verga! ¡Verga! ¡No está con tus culeros! ¡Mira! ¡Sálgale, Coco! ¡Sálgale, Coquito!
So if you have ever played Ghost Recon or Rainbow Six or Call of Duty, any of those games, this is the kind of stuff you expect to only see in video games. You see a vehicle ramming another one and shooting from point blank range, shooting the people inside. And you'll see like a lot of this stuff is, it looks like it's bulletproof and ricocheting off and that kind of stuff, but you definitely see holes and they're ramming each other and like, you know, fighting in the streets. This is crazy. This is not something you would expect to see, you know, in modern society, even in Mexico. So if this is real and it appears like it is, there's nothing that tells me it's not at this point. If this is real, this is the stuff that's happening that people are not seeing in the hotels and on the beach, right? The tourists are not seeing this stuff. This is happening deeper in the cities and deeper into Mexico.
Ya verga, siguen tirados. Arremaga la frente, Cerro. Arremaga la frente. Arremaga la frente. ¡De verga! ¡Ya abre la puerta! ¡Chíqueselo, plebe! ¡Ahí, arremaga la frente! ¡Chinga tu madre! ¡Date vuelta! ¡Uah! ¡Ay, a la verga! ¡Anca y sépala la verga! ¡Ay, bola de vergas! Chécale ahí, arrepétale para que le meta por la ventana.
Someone's asking about the video of the president of Mexico going to an aircraft carrier. I heard that was fake. So people didn't, you know, I didn't see proof that it was correct or that it was false, but the rumor is that it's fake. You see that? You see the bullets bouncing off of the windshield? So right there's no bullets. And then they shoot and it bounces off. So I don't know if this is, I don't know who's who. I don't know who's the cartel and who's the military in this situation, or if it's two cartels. But they don't sound scared, and the bullets are bouncing off the windshield. So now this guy, to me, he sounds like he's having fun. He's like, "Ay, hey, hey," right? Like So I don't know if they do drugs before they go out on these battles. I don't know if they're just pumped up and excited, but that doesn't seem like a normal reaction to having a shootout with people a few feet away from you. Now, I guess the fact that he's inside a bulletproof vehicle might help make you a little bit more brave, but that is kind of crazy.
Llegó su padre, verga, a la loma.
Now, I'm assuming that little video right there is probably going to get, based on the music alone, is going to get this video demonetized. That's how it works. Let's see. That was from yesterday. We saw that. Yeah, I mean, just some of this. This is, look at all that smoke and stuff. I mean, obviously that's not healthy either. They have all the pollution and the chemicals and stuff in it. But yeah, I would love one of those armored vehicles. 100%. Is Candace in the podcast group? You mean are you talking about the group that was there to meet? I don't believe so. I think it was like 7 or 8 people, and it included like Stu Peters and Jake GTV, Brandy from Brandy and Billy Show. A couple others I didn't recognize, but no, it wasn't like, I don't think Ian Carroll was there. I don't think Candace Owens was there. Vibranium, that's funny. So demonetization, the way it works is some of it's unpredictable, but say that song, if it is a copywritten song, which it probably is, the way it typically works is if I do this stream, say if I do however many hours, they will take 55% of the money from the stream, the ads and stuff, and they will send that to whoever owns the rights to that music for me playing like 20 seconds or 10 seconds of the song. So definitely a crap deal. And if you play something like from like Associated Press or one of those guys, and you're not adding commentary and you're not reporting on news, then you can get completely demonetized to where you don't get 1 penny. So there's people who could do a 10-hour stream that would have made them maybe a couple $1,000s or something, and they'll get $0.00 if they get demonetized during it. So it can be very touchy at times. Yes, there's a guy named L Yogurt. Let me show you L Yogurt. Let's see, I think he's still up here. This is L Yogurt. This is it sounds like he's a self-appointed new cartel leader, at least for that group, the CJNG or whatever it is.
¿Cómo andas, Gabriel? Aquí andamos ir en Europa, no, oiga, ya aquí andamos encargados. Nomás para ver si va a estar con nosotros o no, porque está ayudando a los carteles unidos y pues le mandamos el mensaje que se acomode con nosotros o se acomode bien con ellos, porque los vergazos van bien. Aquí estamos en los bancos, para que sepa nomás. Y no me escondo, para que vea. ¿Cómo andas, Gabriel? Aquí andamos ir en Europa, no, oiga, ya aquí andamos encargados.
So people asking how they can send information to me, I just put my emails in the chat. And also you can tag me on X if there's anything. Yeah, I don't know where the name Yogurt comes from, but if there's anything you want to send me, that engcwarrior@gmail.com is the best one for that route. And then TriggerSmart HQ on X. But there were some other images and stuff of him. Where is it at? Here it is. So I believe he's, which one is it? I think these are all the same. Are these all the same guy? Yeah. So this is that same cartel. I guess he's part of it. So he was next in line. And where's his name? Up here. Abraham Jesus Ambriz Cano. So he's supposed to be the next in line. And I don't believe he's related to the other gentleman at all. And they're just talking here about the different firearms and stuff they have. Obviously, he has this little crew back here. So this looks like the one who's stepping up in place. I have not seen any other videos like this. So I don't know if there's anyone else out there who's saying, I'm in charge now, I'm running it. This is the only one I've seen who's done that. So maybe it's legit. But he does challenge other people in this video. You know, he says you can be with us or not. You can be comfortable with them or you can settle with us. So I think he's forcing them to pick sides at this point. Really, the memes have already started. The new cartel leader is El Yogurt. Really? Oh, man. People get really bored. I'm just trying to see if there's any more information on him. I'm not seeing anything. It's the same few things over and over. It looks like all the people trying to leave. But, and then you have, of course, random people sitting outside on motorcycles, shooting guns. Now, again, this is in these areas, the people are saying is just chill and relax. This might not be in Puerto Vallarta, which seems like it's being spared a lot of stuff right now besides the cars being burned. But a lot of other places, yeah, I saw the real name of El Yogurt, and it looks like he's a well-known operative. He's known as Operativa Yogurt, you're saying. Okay. All right, let's put a 1 in chat if you think Yogurt is going to take over officially and have a long career like his previous guy. I think the previous guy was in there for a couple of decades. So put a 1 if you think Yogurt is going to have a nice long career, and put a 2 if you think they're going to take him out right away. Because I feel like it's going to get crazy. I feel like it's going to get worse. And I think any momentum they had on this first guy, they might lose it at this point. Yeah, a lot of you guys are saying he won't last. And yes, I remember Yogurt from Spaceballs. Oh, man, that was great. But yeah, like this here, let me turn this down. A lot of these are really loud. But these guys are just here. This is typical. You see Cartel, they're on motorcycles or ATVs or something similar. Electric bikes. And they come out here and they're just shooting in the street. They're just... How many you count? Now I want to show you. Watch him at the very beginning. Watch how he goes to shoot and it jams or something happens and he has to pull it down and clear it. Right there. So that jammed. So he didn't charge it. So he went up. He went to shoot. Nothing happened, and he panicked and he went down, and then he cocked it and he went back up and then he shot. I have seen that happen in probably 15 different videos since yesterday with the cartel. Yeah, waste of ammo. But I mean, these guys, they have billions of dollars in drug and other money. So I don't think they're struggling too bad. Yeah, I would be I'd be curious to see maybe if they had like a what do they call, like an armory, you know, like a group of guys that their only job, just like at a SWAT or something like that, or like a police station, is just to clean and keep everything going. But I think I think just like this, they operate pretty independently and they get the gear and just, they're like, hey, I have new fancy stuff. Let's go shoot stuff. I wouldn't be surprised. But then, of course, they have their, no guapo. But I think they definitely have like their higher level operators that we saw before in all the fancy gear. And I think those guys are probably pretty well trained. I think that's almost like the elite guard that are around Putin. I can't think of what they're called off the top of my head right now. If you know, put it down in the chat. But I think they're probably similar to that. Let me see, you know, just there's a lot of this stuff here. We talked about the zoo, how people are blocked in there. Lots of explosions and gunfights. This is the one that was killed. And this is his mugshots from San Francisco when he was in the U.S. So he was previously a narco-terrorist in the United States. And they thought it would be a good idea to send him back to Mexico to become an even bigger cartel leader. So that was a good choice. Let's look and see if there's any updates on this map. Oh yeah, there's more. You see that? So since last time we looked, oh, there's more up there too. So this is showing fires and vehicles and incidents. Incidentes, they call them. So earlier we had less. We had more yesterday. I think maybe, well, this might be close to yesterday's. But these are new ones popping up. So since we looked at this just a few minutes, maybe what, an hour ago, there's probably at least twice as many. And we have some that have gone out, but way more that are started. So this would tell me, based on this map alone, that it's not over yet. And it's obviously going down into a little bit into South America down there too. But so I would, again, if you're in these areas, if you have loved ones that are there, I would still take this pretty seriously. Yeah. And it looks like it's in the same basic area, same areas that it was yesterday. But the fact that it's going again and still going, what are these yellow ones? What is that? I can't, this in Spanish. Combatives. Rumbo a la marcha. Looks like some kind of combat. But I guess the big takeaway is all the stuff that was going on yesterday looks like it's still going on. And there's more of them than there were just an hour ago. So keep your head on a swivel. This stuff is still going on. I don't know if they're done yet. Let's look and see if there's any flight changes here. Looks like we still have, let's look at the airport. So flights in and flights out. So yeah, I mean, so since what, about 9 in the morning, they've had flights coming in from all over, including Guadalajara, and takeoffs all the way up through 30 minutes ago. So yeah, they're going in and out. I don't know what this NA stuff is. Are these people just like, get me the hell out of here? Maybe that's what these NAs are, because they don't have a location. They don't have a destination. That's interesting. Now let's look at Guadalajara. I want to see if they're still booming. I don't see any recent. Interesting. So coming over here, they have that's not too bad. They only have an hour delay with everything going on. And business as usual. So they had takeoffs 20 minutes ago. They started at 6 this morning. And yeah, takeoffs all the way up into 7 minutes ago. And that started at 11. So it seems like the airports are functional. I know people are saying that they can't, they haven't been able to get out. And I know Brandy said they couldn't get out until tomorrow. So I don't know if the flights that are active are the people that already had previous tickets, but it seems like it's moving, which is good. And I'm going to check and see here if there's any new updates. So I'll let you watch this dumpster fire, which actually this perfectly, this dumpster fire or whatever this is perfectly encompasses the state of the world right now. So we'll let that burn. And let's look at the poll here too. So we have, is El Yogurt the new leader or just the first to claim it? Yeah, I admit, I will admit, I did not word that one very well. I didn't. So 59% say yes, he's going to be the new leader, and 41% says no. All right, so let's do this really quick. And the biggest thing with this one is I'm trying to word it carefully. Do you think the U.S. is using this as a distraction for Iran? And we know Iran, everything's in position. And actually, let me see if I can. I was trying to. I don't want to because you're basically giving away the position of the U.S. assets, and I don't want to do that. But I would like to know where the carriers and stuff are. And I heard one went into port. But here's some updates. This is from the Mexico paper. So you have to add this to the other. Hold on one second. Keep forgetting that. There we go. I'm working with a new setup here. I have a new studio built out, and I'm just getting used to the software I'm using. So this is from DW.com. Mexico violence flares over killing of El Mencho. This was just 3 hours ago. So this is, and it was last updated 4 minutes ago. So this will be the latest information that we can find. Give me 1 second. I have to sneeze, I think. False flag. No pun intended. All right. Cartel members have gone on violent rampages. It looks like 25 security forces were killed, and I think that's what they call their National Guard. And yep, so Sheinbaum is calling for calm, and the raid was carried out in Jalisco. We know these things. Okay, so now Sheinbaum is saying that the road blockades are cleared. So it's official that those blockades that we were seeing in the streets and the vehicles on fire have been moved out of the way. I don't know if that means across all of Mexico, because we saw, remember, this is going on. So these are all the different areas where these things are happening all across Mexico. So she's saying that all of this is cleared? I'd be interested to know, because that's a lot of work in a very short period of time. But empty streets. And then we have, this is interesting. Mexico planned the operation to take down the drug boss by tracking his girlfriend. Now, I heard that the U.S. shared intelligence that came to this. It wasn't an assassination, right? They were trying to capture him, but he died in the process. But so it's interesting to hear that it was the girlfriend being tracked, and the U.S. was helping with that. And apparently, there's allegations that there were special forces on the ground from the U.S. But let's see what they have to say about this. Mexican Defense Secretary Ricardo Travilla said at a news conference that authorities had located an associate close to one of El Mencho's girlfriends on February 20th. And he had taken her to see, he took her, no. So he took this woman. Okay, so he messed up. So they were tracking her phone, and he took her back to his place in Tapalpa. Interesting. When she left the house the next day, authorities stopped her and obtained information that he was in the house, and authorities then began planning the operation. So I'm curious, do you think this, put a 1 if you think this woman was planted either by Mexico or the U.S. for him to be his girlfriend, and put a 2 if you think that it was his legitimate girlfriend and they just messed up. Travilla said exchanges of information with U.S. intelligence were important in the operation, which we've heard. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum said at a news conference that her priority was to ensure peace and security after violence flared. Interesting. Trump is calling on Mexico to step up action against drug cartels. That was 2 hours ago. U.S. President Donald Trump called on Mexico to step up their action against cartels following the death of El Mencho. He said earlier he was willing to launch unilateral attacks in Mexico to thwart the flow of illegal narcotics. And we've heard him say that plenty of times. He says he's ready to take them out if he needs to. And but we know Claudia Sheinbaum has pushed back against that. So there's very interesting dynamics. So we have Trump saying, we'll help you with whatever you need. Anything you need, including military action, we will give you to take down or at least slow down the cartel and prevent narcotics going across the border. And taking out the cartel would also obviously help them in Mexico. And Claudia Sheinbaum is saying up here, she says her priority was to ensure peace and security after the violence of killing this guy. But she's telling Trump, no military action. Stay out of here. Very strange. Almost, it seems kind of conflicting. But it looks like the soccer games have been postponed, if you care about that. Additional 2,500 troops are in western Mexico. Mexico's Defense Secretary Travilla again said they were boosting the amount of troops. 7,000 troops were stationed in Jalisco and they're going to be reinforced. I mean, I don't know how many members the cartel has, but it's probably significantly more than that. And yeah, she's urging calm. For anyone coming in, we're just getting caught up on today's news. There's not a lot of news that's coming out. Yeah, let me check chat. Is OG Media? Yeah, Don Dix has some interesting stuff. Let me see if Don Dix or Carlos have any updates. It's always good to... They seem to be pretty active on this one anyway. Nothing there. Where is he at? So we have Dan Dix. Any updates from Dan Dix? Now, he was the one that was saying that the line at the hotel was getting long and that he's a professional journalist, activist. Let's see. It looks like 17 minutes ago. All right, let's see. I'm not sure. Yeah, it looks like I can play this. Give me a second here. I've never heard of some.
One and only day I was.
What is this? Have you heard of brightvideos.com? I don't even know what that is. Is that like an alternative YouTube or something? All right, let's see what we have over here.
One and only day I was supposed to spend it on the beach with my lovely wife, and we went out there and...
Okay, he's playing music during it, so I can't play that. And I'm assuming since he's smart and he's a journalist, he probably did that on purpose so no one else can use it. Let's see. And by the way, that's a trick. So if you ever have social media and you're an influencer of some type or whatever it may be, and you don't want someone to play your stuff, just put some copywritten music in it. Some music that that you've paid for through like Epidemic Sounds or something like that, and no one else will be able to play it. All right, I can play this report from Egan, but I will preface it with I heard some of the stuff he says, and I don't agree with everything he says. Where's his latest? Did he remove it? All right. Yeah, so I'll play this update from him. But like I said, I don't agree with everything he says. There's some things he says that I definitely don't agree with.
Look at this guy, folks. It's a little weird, don't you think? Just a little strange. And this character is looking up at these children up here. Kind of looking up their skirts. Yeah, this is a very odd statue, folks. But as you can see, Monday morning here, the cruise ship has decided to bail, which doesn't surprise me at all. But Monday morning here at Puerto Vallarta, look, we've got tourists wandering around. I don't see any smoke or fire. Apparently all the burning cars and buses have been removed. The police rolled up and removed them, of course, after the event, because that's what they do. You know, it's important to notice that all of these buses and cars and all these burnout vehicles appeared almost simultaneously all over Puerto Vallarta. They trashed the town, and now they've moved on. And not only did they trash Puerto Vallarta, they trashed all of Mexico. You've got to understand all of these weapons. I've got an article somewhere that I'll see if I can find and post for you, which shows that all of these weapons were supplied to the cartels about 10 years ago by Israel, of course. That's just the way it goes. And you've got to understand how this works. I mean, this is all CIA run. The whole Mexican government, the cartels, it's all CIA run, the whole thing, folks. And Sheinbaum, of course, the Jewish president, recently said she didn't want to sit on the Palestinian Board of Peace because she supports Palestine. Doesn't agree with what Trump's doing, but I think this is probably for show in order for her to gain some credibility. Otherwise, the people will probably overthrow her like they did the last Jewish president in the 1920s. who tried to kill all the Catholics, and they thought, well, this is a bad idea, so they threw him out. And now Scheinbaum's come in, and she's staunchly outspoken to support Palestine and things, but then this happens. This is a way for them to declare war on the cartels and get Trump to intervene. Help people think Mexico is really unsafe. It's all been done by design, folks. This was absolutely a controlled revolution, if that's what you want to call it. It was a controlled event designed to happen to bring about an outcome. Now, what they want to do is create the North American Union, merge Canada and the United States and Mexico all as one country. And this is what it's all about. This has totally been staged. Like, the police were everywhere for the whole weekend. They were pulling, we even got pulled over driving back from town one night because the cops said we went up a one-way street the wrong.
That's interesting. So he's saying that based on what he's seen, and obviously he lives there and he has a bar there, he's been there for a long time. He's saying that the police were there the whole time, which means they either let the cartels in to do this stuff or they were part of the staging of it. It's an interesting take. That kind of would go with the allegations that the border security was lax on October 7th in Israel, right? There's people that say that, you know, nothing is getting through their border security, but somehow that day a bunch of guys got through and started killing, you know, citizens. Is this something similar? Was this like a big staged coup type of thing, or like a false flag, I guess? Interesting.
Way when we didn't. And we kind of stood our ground and argued with them, and they let us off with a warning. So we didn't do anything wrong. But the point is, there were cops everywhere for the whole week that we were here. And the morning that this was happening, there were no police anywhere. I mean, admittedly, maybe they didn't want to be around because they didn't want to be killed by the cartels, but they weren't anywhere. This all seemed very contrived. And then suddenly they've come out, they've cleaned everything up. It was like a one-day thing, which is kind of good for us. But I'm going to go over here and show you these buses that were burning the other day when I was here. Actually, I'll go down here. I'll walk down the street here and you can see this restaurant that was on fire. And you can check these buses out that were burning as well. Pretty crazy shit, folks. Of course, a lot of the tourists were totally freaked out by it all. Quite understandably. This poor tree down here seems to have suffered a fair bit as well. But let's go and check it out. Here's these buses. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy shit, folks. And so that wasn't a restaurant that was burning. It was a tree they set on fire, folks. Look at that. That's what that was. I thought it was this big restaurant. Trying to get the corners mixed up and the places mixed up. There's a beautiful restaurant on a corner down here, and that's what I thought that was. But obviously it was just the trees and the buses.
And that's kind of similar to the Costco. So the Costco looked like it was on fire in a lot of the different videos, and we found out that it was a semi-trailer that was burning in front of it.
The buses look like they've seen better days, folks. Interesting, just sitting here on the Esplanade in Puerto Vallarta. Yeah, but I think things are going to be probably pretty calm from here. Probably back to normal. I think it was just to create an international incident in order to support the agenda. I mean, sure, they're pissed off that one of their heads was taken by the police and actually killed. I believe his son as well. I think they killed the guy they wanted, Mencho, and they injured his son, and I think his son actually died in the helicopter on the way to Mexico City.
So that would be different than what we've been hearing and seeing, which is that Mencho was not with his son, and Mencho was, they tried to raid and capture him, and during that he got shot during the shootout back and forth, and he died in the chopper on the way back, or at least in the transport on the way back. And then separately, we saw that video that came out. It looks like his son got picked up in the helicopter and has his head down and all that. So I don't know. I don't know what the truth is, but he's on the ground there, and he probably gets word of mouth, and he knows, he has connections down there. So maybe he has some information we don't.
When they took him. So, yeah, different stuff, folks, very different. A lot of really weird statues here. You got this one over here, the seahorse, little boy riding it. Very strange statues, folks, in Puerto Vallarta. Very unusual. But anyway, that's the update. There's not a lot going on. I think we're good. I think it was just this one-day thing. Also, the Costco was not burned. I was told that it was, but it wasn't. And also the Soriana, what's that other supermarket?
Costco.
Huh?
Costco.
No, the other, not Costco, the other one.
Soriana, Costco.
Soriana. I think that one is also good. So much disinformation coming out. There were reports of shootings at the airport. Apparently, there were no shootings at the airports. So things seem to be pretty good, folks. And we'll just see what happens. But I think it was just to send a statement, like an international statement. Sure, they're pissed off their boss was killed, but I think the boss was killed, so this would happen.
So I'm seeing something in chat. U.S. State Department reports blockades still remain in Guadalajara, Puerto Vallarta, Ciudad Guzman, Tijuana, Chiapas, and Michoacán. I'm not sure how you say that last one. So I think based on this report, and obviously go check him out, go follow him. He is Max Egan, I-G-A-N. He has Max the Crow House. I think he has a restaurant or a bar or something out there. So make sure you show him some love out there too. But it seems that there's a mixture of stuff coming out. There's one side of people who are in certain areas that things are calming down. And then there's another side that we've already seen in some of the videos and stuff where there's shootouts and explosions. So I would say it's probably not universal. So if you see a couple places, sorry, I'm trying to clear my throat. I just had some ibuprofen because I have a migraine. Yay. But I think there's a mixture of things happening. I think you have one side of the country or certain parts of the country where it is calm and it's fine. And you have other areas, well, calming down, I'll say. It's calming down, may not be out of the weeds yet. Then you have other areas that have battles happening between cartels and between the cartel and military. So I think it's one of those situations where they're like, we clean up a few touristy spots, so everything's all good. Peace is restored, right? That's what Scheinbaum wanted. But we're hearing different reports in different areas. So I'm glad that Puerto Vallarta seems like it is turning around. But there's other areas, like we just saw here. It's like Guadalajara and Guzman, Tijuana, Chiapas. It looks like there's still some places where there's still blockades. And there still might be fires, and there still might be gunfights. So what I will do is, I've been looking around. I've been looking for updates. I don't see any updates. So I'm not going to keep you on just to keep you on. So what I will do is, if anything else new comes out, I will jump back on and do another stream. But I appreciate you guys being here. Hit that like, subscribe. If you want to help out the channel, I have a bunch of things in the description you can help with. Donations, merchandise. I have my my allegedly hats. That looks terrible in that light. But I have allegedly hats and t-shirts and mugs and all that stuff. And obviously, that's not my main income or anything, but it's just fun little stuff that I have. But I appreciate you being here. Thanks again to the mods and the members and everyone for watching. And I will definitely see you if something else starts happening, whether it's Iran or aliens, right? I have a lot of stuff. Actually, I have a ton of stuff planned for some UFO and UAP stuff. It's declassified information too. It's not just some random videos online where someone's like, oh, someone thinks they saw it. No, this is like legitimate stuff. And these are studies that the government did. Some they were able to tell you what they think it was, and other ones they still don't know. Very interesting interviews. So all that stuff will be coming out hopefully this week. But I'll see you guys soon, and stay safe. And hopefully if you have any family members, anyone out there, I pray they stay safe as well.